So anyway, thanks. Share the conversation is what I was going to tell you to do. Share it. Then I want to say thank you to my friends out here in Green Pasture Studios. They're doing everything to support these conversations week after week. Either they do full-fledged movies, commercials, they have a film academy, they have all those things. If you're interested in getting involved in that in any kind of way, look up Green Pasture Studios out in Northeast Oklahoma City in Spencer. You'll be happy you did. Look them up online. Now, three reasons I do these conversations is one, I want to add value to people in my community. Two, I want to inspire you to believe in what people and communities can become when we're willing to work together and just have real good conversation. Three, love people, period. No strings attached. All this means is I want you to be inspired. I want you to get useful information and resources, and I want to celebrate individuals, groups, and organizations who are making a positive impact on our community. Every conversation will be about information, inspiration, and hope. Can you all hear me now? Am I good now? You're good. So let's get started now that I have a microphone on. In the wake of the recent mass shootings at an elementary school in Texas, I really wanted to talk to someone who makes gun violence prevention their business. So joining me tonight is my friend Cacky Poarch. Cacky is a mom, a creative thinker, and a community advocate. She is considered one of the founders of the largest film festivals in Oklahoma, the deadCenter Film Festival, and recently returned as the interim executive director. Cacky has produced and directed multiple documentaries, including the award-winning documentary Faces of the 47th, The Art of Activism, which focused on the historic 2018 Oklahoma teacher walkout and the following election cycle. Throughout this project, Cacky's efforts turned towards activism and improving her home state. She has been an advocate for gun violence prevention on the Moms Demand Action leadership team and has actively fought legislation to loosen gun laws in Oklahoma. She is involved in criminal justice reform as a board member for TEEM, the Education and Employment Ministry, working to break the cycle of incarceration. She was a founding member of the Oklahoma County Sheriff's Office Community Advisory Board, which was aimed to reduce crime and enhance the quality of life for all citizens through positive and open communication. Most recently, Cacky was featured as a wildly capable woman in 100 magazine and is completing her leadership MBA at Oklahoma City University this summer. Please help me in welcoming my friend, Cacky Poarch, to Conversations with Cubit. How are you, girl?
Good.
We made it. We didn't have sound or anything.
That's right. So we're good now.
But you acted surprised to hear that I retired. You didn't know?
I did not, and I did not know about your new gig. No, I didn't know that.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm thrilled to talk to you tonight.
Okay. Well,
Yes.
You can talk to me tonight. So I retired last Thursday.
No, I didn't know that.
Was my last day officially. So I'm a former police lieutenant now. And I was still late for everything I needed to do today. I didn't have any emails to check. I started on my honeydew stuff, time just flew by.
Right.
So I'm glad we made it here on time, and we got it. Just barely got our microphones on, but we made it. We made it. Thanks for being here.
Of course. Thank you for asking.
How's the day going?
Good, thank you. Good. As we talked about, I'm the interim executive director of the deadCenter Film Festival, which is June 9th through 12th. So it's coming upon us. So that's what I've been doing.
I've never been. Is that bad?
What now?
I've never been. Is that bad?
Well, I think you should come. Do you want to come?
I do.
Okay, great.
I do.
I could probably hook you up.
I know somebody. I know some people.
Yeah,
you know some people. My people. Okay,
that's right. And actually, our screenings are going to span all over Oklahoma City. So we're going to be at the First Americans Museum. This is our first year. We're going to be at the Yale Theater in historic Capitol Hill. We're even going to have events at Kindred Spirits. We're going to have a screening at Kindred Spirits, and then also Harkins Bricktown 16, Oklahoma City Museum of Art. Anyways, all
you
over.
got it going on.
Indeed.
Very, very good.
Indeed.
Very good. But you've done some. That work has inspired some other work.
Yes. Well, I am a creative, so I was a theater major in college. I'm a creative, and how I got to be in this seat tonight is I joined Moms Demand Action in 2018 after the Parkland massacre, and as a mom.
Yep. I can already see it in your eyes and your heart, and let's be. I know that you were in work about gun violence. I knew that.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, She should be somebody we talk to on
Yeah.
Conversation with Cubit. And so when I hit you up about coming on, you were pretty sure you were not going to talk about
No,
this.
not at all. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I was
pretty-
very
pretty
hesitant. Yeah.
So I appreciate you coming on. But tell me why this conversation is about gun and gun violence, particularly right now, in the wake of Uvalde, is so difficult for you.
I think the school shooting in Texas was horrible, but it was also on the heels of another massacre at a grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
And then and we just had, and gun violence does happen here in Oklahoma every day. It just happened over the weekend in Taft, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
But the details that are coming out also about what happened in Texas are just awful. Just awful. It's always awful, but the fact that there were children in the room calling 911 over and over and over, and they didn't get immediate help is
Disturbing. It's disturbing.
It is. It is very disturbing.
The fact there's a lot of things disturbing about it.
Yeah.
Right. And we can
Yeah.
we can criticize what the police did or didn't do, what the adults did or didn't do, what the
Right.
town did or didn't do, but that really hasn't been where your focus has been up to this moment.
No. So yeah, if we want to back up a little bit. Yeah. But also what brought me to this advocacy was Parkland. And we have lots of conversations. Of course, there is one side of we need to address mental illness, and another side is we need to address guns, but we're consistently not doing anything.
Any of it.
And really, we should be doing both. It's not an either or. We should be addressing both. And after Parkland, through deadCenter Film Festival, we had a screening for Moms Demand Action for Parkland Rising, and then there was another documentary about Parkland, and I got to interview Manny Oliver, who is one of the parents. Joaquin, his son, was one of the young people that was killed in Parkland, and his advocacy for his son has been unbelievable. He and Patricia have started Change the Ref. And also David Hogg, which is, he's one of the young people that were in that shooting that started March for Our Lives, and there will be one in Oklahoma City on June 11th. Their advocacy is just amazing to me, that they are able to turn their pain into action. And Manuel Oliver actually was. He was outside the White House recently and wouldn't leave until he got a meeting with Biden, and Biden agreed to take some kind of action.
Where are we in Oklahoma? What is our legislation? People are really upset that in Texas,
Yeah.
a 18-year-old was able to go in and buy two, not just AR-15s, high-end AR-15s.
Yeah.
$2,500, probably $2,500 each, with a lot of ammunition. And to me, all of the red flags come up, but I don't know what the finding. I mean, maybe it was a rich family, I don't know. But in Oklahoma, can an 18-year-old walk in and buy an AR-15 from anywhere by any means legally?
Well, I think, and that's, I should know this by heart. I believe it is still 21. I thought they wanted to lower the age to 18 in this state, and that was a discussion, I believe, just this session. And the thought is because you can go to the military and have access to firearms, and you should as a civilian as well. I know that young people can't have long guns. I mean, we're a state with hunters,
Right.
I mean, that's a part of life here, and especially in rural Oklahoma, that's a part of our life. But there is not, there are not the stopgaps that we need, which is, you can't get around background checks really easily. That shouldn't, we should have universal background checks. Also in this state, we are actually, like 2 laws that our governor assigned is that we're a Second Amendment sanctuary state.
What does that mean? Like,
Well,
help people understand what that means, right?
So I'm not really sure what that means. Other than,
I'm trying not to put my 2 cents in. I just want you, yeah.
all right.
Okay, go ahead.
Which actually, what do you think that means?
It basically means that in Oklahoma we follow the Constitution. But I don't understand what I think it's a media stunt.
Yeah, because I was still on the Oklahoma County Sheriff's Office Community Board, Community Advisory Board, and I know that their legal counsel was very clear about that doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything. But also I know that we have signed into law that we are an anti-red flag law state, and red flag laws are, when there's a domestic violence situation and there's firearms present, that a loved one, or actually when there's someone in danger of hurting themselves, you can have a court order, go in front of the judge. It's a court order. There is due process, and you can temporarily remove firearms, and that has gotten pushback in our legislature as well. I mean, we've gotten pushback for everything.
So tell us about. So then that leads me to want to know more about Moms Demand Action. Moms Demand Action, what action do they want to see?
Right.
And what inaction is actually happening that causes this advocacy to be so strong?
Right. Well, that's, so what action are we really doing? So there are so many layers to what we could be doing. One, I'm wearing a shirt that says, "In gun violence, we are a part of Wear Orange," which is actually this weekend, June 3rd through 5th, and it honors Hadaya Pendleton. I hope I'm saying her name correctly. And she was a victim of gun violence in Chicago. She was actually in President Obama's inauguration, and a week later, she was killed on a playground. And so her friends decided to wear orange to honor her. And so on this Saturday in Oklahoma City, we're going to collaborate with Selfless Hands and clean up a playground. We're going to meet at the Thelma Parks Elementary School, and we're all going to help clean up and be of service. And so that is something that we do is we are of service in communities. We do tabling events. We have Be Smart, which is we do a lot of tabling events to talk to people about how to store their guns responsibly and keep it out of the hands of young people, which is, in the summer that happens a lot when young people get a hold of, a firearm and harm themselves either accidentally or on purpose. And that also is a conversation is when there is unfettered access to firearms, you see an increase in self-harm. And in particular, during the pandemic, there were a lot of people that were harming themselves. And females ended up in the hospitals, but a lot of males did not because they had access to firearms, which is much more deadly. So that is one thing we advocate or raise awareness about as well. I mean, I sat in an interim study in the Senate, and it was through the mental health, and it was what solutions could we have, and there is going to be is it 988? I think that it's a suicide prevention hotline. And it was mentioned, those stats, except that no one really wants to address access to firearms. And it needs to be addressed. Absolutely.
What is the in your opinion, what is the impact of these loose gun laws? What's where the rubber meets the road? And because I think it is different. You alluded to this earlier in the conversation. Is that rural Oklahoma is not Tulsa, it's not Oklahoma City.
No.
It's not. And so loose gun laws in rural Oklahoma, it has a totally different impact than maybe loose gun laws in Oklahoma City.
I think that's true, except that we're a permitless carry state, but when you went to go get a permit, you would have at least 8 hours of training. We've gotten rid of all the training. I mean, we should, if you if you need to have a driver's license to drive a car, shouldn't you have a license to have a firearm? You need a license to go fishing. You need a license to shoot a deer, but you don't need to have a license to carry a gun into a bar. I mean, you should. I think that is a shame. I think something else is that it's because we've gotten rid of things like that. It seems like we've gotten rid of a respect for firearms. That it's just the easy access without training, without proper protocols. I mean, there's a gentleman in Moms Demand Action, Neil Hester, who is very involved with veterans and preventing veteran suicides, and he's retired military, and he actually said in an interview that has not been published yet, but that so people who have firearms don't shoot them enough. You don't have enough training on them to actually even use them responsibly.
I can understand exactly what he's talking about.
Yes, right. Yeah.
So what do you say to okay, I'm just going to throw this at you.
Yeah.
Crime is on the rise.
Mm-hmm.
All the numbers are going up.
Yeah.
And my neighbors do not want to be victims.
Yeah.
And so what they want to do is, out of fear of becoming a victim, they buy a gun. You're a lady, you're a mom,
Mm-hmm.
Running around Oklahoma City. Aren't you scared?
Well, so I've had a home intruder, and I actually sleep near my bed with a bat. So I have a dog and I have a bat. So those are my two. That's what I use. But protecting your home and property, that is different than, let's say, doing an OK2A audit, which is when you carry guns into the park and just see if a cop will stop you and have a bunch of parents freak out and,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because we sort of talked about that earlier, that there's constitutional walks, I think. Constitutional carry walks is what advocates like to do. And stuff like that is a very different, it's
kind of a way of celebrating guns.
Yeah.
Promoting guns. And I don't think, I'm just going to say, why does a gun need to be promoted? It does what it does.
Right.
Right? It is for what it's for. You don't have to promote it. It doesn't need any help being sold. If somebody's scared and they think they need protection, they know how to get a bat because they know how to swing one.
Yeah.
They know how to get a knife because they want to cut it. They know how to use it, or they want to get a gun because they want to learn how to use it, or whatever the thing is. Why is it promoted so much? Can you figure this out?
Firearms, well, yeah. So actually all roads lead back to Oklahoma. There's an advertising agency that was hired by the NRA to help with their messaging. They've done a really good job to where a lot of the phrases that we hear all the time in the media were crafted by that advertising agency here in Oklahoma. And so instead of being, to protect your home, to protect your property, firearm safety, which is, what the NRA used to be, they have really gone off the rails, right? And Wayne LaPierre now, like whenever there is a tragedy, he uses it really to elevate his.
Now, who is he?
Oh, he's the head of the NRA.
Okay.
Wayne LaPierre.
Okay.
Oh, yes. And I'm trying to think what mass shooting it was, but he convinced the NRA members that he needed a mansion. So somehow he got a mansion. And then it was he really needed a boat because he needed to be secure on a boat. So he has, instead of being responsible or for taking any sort of action that honored the victims, they really did the opposite. And I feel like that's the progression we've seen over the last few years, which is the wrong direction. That's the wrong it's the wrong direction.
What is now that we've had another
Yeah.
mass shooting of 10-year-olds in America? What are groups like? What's the next step for groups like? And there's others like Moms Demand Action.
Yeah.
What has to happen if we keep waiting on someone else to come be the hero of our story?
Yeah. We are. Yeah. We all need to show up and make a stance and be very loud.
Tell me what it looks like.
Okay, well, so first thing,
Yes.
text ACT to 64433, and that immediately gets you in the Moms Demand Action system. And there you can have an option to send an email to your senators. I think we need to be, contacting our legislatures all the time, every day. Also, being visible, like our gun violence awareness, being visible. There is strength in numbers. Also, for the Be Smart tabling, so teaching parents, kids, how to store their firearms responsibly. So there are absolutely incremental steps that we can do. And it starts, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So
Right.
we can all have an impact. If we all commit to doing something, if not every day, every week, every month.
One thing I haven't heard you say yet.
Yes.
I haven't heard you say, but I already know what people are going to be. They're probably going to be in the comments. Is you want to take people's guns?
We do not. Absolutely not. I have never said that. We do not want to do that. We have gun owners in our group. Responsible gun owners. And responsible gun owners should want, I would think, responsible gun legislation. Common sense. I don't know, do you not think it's a good idea that everyone be trained to have a firearm?
I think it's a great idea.
Right.
I think it's a great idea.
Right.
But it's not. Well, here's what my friends come to me. I just had this conversation with a loved one.
Yeah.
In-depth conversation, and I respect him so much for sitting down and talking to me about it.
Yeah.
He says, "Look, I'm going to get a gun."
Yeah.
He says, "Now I know you don't want me to get a gun, but I'm going to get a gun, and I just want you to help me purchase the right gun."
Right.
This is what he wanted help from me. And I said, well, let's talk a little bit more about the kind of gun you need.
Right.
What are you getting the gun for?
Right.
And he said, very first thing, home defense.
Yeah.
Okay, home defense. I'm with that. Everybody should feel secure and safe in their home.
Yes.
For you, batting the dog makes you feel safe. For me, a 12 gauge does.
Right.
For him, he thinks it's going to be a handgun of some sort.
Right.
And I said, so when do you think it's most likely going to be, your home will be attacked? At night or when you're away from home? When are you going to need home defense? And I'm asking everybody now, when are you going to need home defense?
Right.
Right? When somebody breaks in, when an intruder comes in.
Right. Right.
Okay. When the intruder comes in your kitchen and you're in your kitchen cooking, where's your home defense?
Right. Well, I'm going to hope it's secured and unloaded.
Right?
Right.
Okay. So if you have a secured gun that is unloaded
Right.
and it's time for home defense, what good is it there?
I don't know. Well, and you must know, what is reaction time, even for a really trained...
From the kitchen to wherever it's at.
Right, right, right.
So here's the answer to that. Put one in every room.
Oh, it's awful. No, thank you. God, no.
Put one, let's just get one for every room so you can access it quickly.
Right.
And if it's responsible and it's locked and in a safe, how can you even get to it fast enough?
Right.
Because the person that's intruding is ready when they come through the door.
Yeah, right. Right.
So you have something, $1,000 weapon
Yeah. Or more.
in every room.
Ammunition, yeah.
In every room, that you really is just a paperweight for that one moment that you're scared about, that you're trying to defend yourself with.
Right.
He says, okay. He processes that. He says, so what do you suggest? I said, I have a shotgun.
Yeah.
My wife can use it, and she's not really trained that well. She just knows how to pump action. And every turd in the world knows what that sounds like.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, I do. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep. So the intruder, if you have time to go to the closet or to wherever you keep it, whatever is next thing, give that thing, close your eyes, point the direction of the noise, let it rip. Home defense.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, without the training and practice under the stress of an intruder, you're not going to do very well with a gun, with a handgun. You're just not going to do very well.
Right.
Who made us believe that we would be?
Yeah.
Who made us believe that we would be very good? Yeah, police officers, military people, they might be because they handle a gun every single day, and they do that every single day. But the teacher.
Well,
I know you don't want to go there.
I know.
I know you
Even
want to go
though
there.
I do want to, but I mean, that is an enormous mistake. And you probably know this, Oklahoma law is designated personnel can already carry firearms in a school. I mean, so that is happening, but with the appropriate training, and gun advocates want to just gut the training and let everyone carry, and that is such a mistake.
Right.
Such a mistake.
I haven't met a teacher that wants to carry.
No.
Not yet. I haven't met a teacher that wants to carry.
Because also 60% of school shooters are young people. And so you are asking a teacher in a stressful situation not to protect your class, but to literally shoot a child? To me, that's not a teacher.
Right.
That's not no.
So we're not talking about taking away guns. I'm not talking about taking away guns.
Absolutely not.
I'm a gun owner.
No, and that is a phrase that we have never said at Moms Demand Action.
Right.
To be clear. Yeah.
Yeah. No. You have to be very clear about that because.
No, absolutely not. No.
Right. Absolutely not.
No.
Here's another thing. I read this over the weekend, and I think we're reading a lot of stuff. But since Columbine, which I think is the mark in the sand for all of this stuff. Yeah. Since Columbine, the United States has experienced 200 of these type shootings.
Or more.
Yeah. Canada,
I know.
Who has the same mental illness, who has the same bloody movies and video games and commercials and you name it, 3.
Yeah. And they just outlawed handguns this week. Did you know that? Yeah, they outlawed handguns this week. You can no longer buy a handgun in Canada.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it just happened. What is today? Today's
Tuesday. Mm-hmm.
Oh. Wonder when he's announced that. Recently, yeah.
So I don't know if I like that or not, but I know the number 3 to 200 is huge.
Yeah.
Is huge.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there was an action, what action they took or what action they didn't take that we're taking. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But we're leading in the wrong category here.
Yeah. Yes.
We're leading in the wrong category here.
Yeah. And then I just know locally some of the things that were so important this legislative session. It's like, really we're not focusing on helping people. We're not focused on protecting less vulnerable young kids, moms.
Right. Well, I can tell you that you inspire me about, but your advocacy is inspirational.
Oh, thank you.
Right, and you care about kids that are not even your own. I mean, you're crying.
Oh, yeah.
You're crying for kids in Texas.
Yes. I don't know how you could be a parent and not think about that. But I think a lot of parents think about that. A lot of parents are very, very scared. And there are solutions, which I brought our handout.
Right.
I'm trying
Talk about them if you want to. Go ahead.
Yes, because I'm trying to think, because it was so much information. But actually, our Oklahoma school system, the Oklahoma Department of Education Office of School Safety and Security, they actually have solutions, or they have recommendations of behavioral threat assessment training. Panic Button is an app that alerts authorities to an active shooter. Buying a prevention team or a bullying prevention team. I mean, something else we haven't really talked about is counselors. Every school should have a counselor. Mm-hmm. If we want to address mental illness, we should have counselors.
Yeah. one of the things that always jumps off the page to me when we have these shootings is everybody says, when I was a police officer, like, man, that car came out of nowhere. Like, that car didn't come out of nowhere.
No.
Like,
Nope.
you could see it didn't just all of a sudden happen.
Right.
That
there's always
wreck
warning signs.
developed. That
Yep.
wreck developed, right?
Yeah.
But it just all of a sudden happened to you because you weren't paying attention.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If people are paying attention, these things don't all of a sudden happen.
No, they don't.
And so we really don't even have to focus so much on the guns as much as we have to focus on each other.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
If people cared for people, all
Yeah.
people, paid attention to all people, make sure that kids are seen,
Yeah.
heard,
Yeah.
and truly valued.
Yeah.
And truly valued. It's easy to talk to the head cheerleader and the head quarterback in the football. It's easy to talk to those kids. But who's talking to all the kids?
Yeah.
Who's getting to know them?
Right.
Right? Somebody knew something was weird or strange or off or not quite right, whatever you want to call it, about this kid.
Yeah.
How do you support that kid?
Right.
And if I'm not able to support them because they're just too weird for me, I don't click with that kid, but there's some weird adult that clicks with that kid.
Yeah.
Don't rest until you get the resource for that person.
Yeah.
Don't let them run around undealt with,
Right.
because you're going to deal with it. A problem ignored is a problem you will be dealing with sooner or later.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm getting off it's not my.
No, but I love hearing that. The fact that you're moving into that field more of the, head of security of Oklahoma City Public Schools, or what was your
It's
title?
a director of security. It's director of security. And I'll just say it like this. People are already asking me, I don't even start there till next month. But I've been praying about it, thinking about it.
Yeah.
And I've been around kids in schools for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And what I know is you need an officer or a gun in that school. I like that idea. Trained guy.
Right.
But this guy can handle the threat, or girl. This guy can handle the threat when the threat actually presents itself.
Right.
But they're not just running around with two guns in their hand. They have a teddy bear and a gun. They can't have two teddy bears because they have to be able to deal with threats. But they can't have two guns because they have to deal with people.
Right.
They have to deal with kids.
Right.
Right. So we need a balance in our schools of
Right.
people that are really ready to deal with the threat, but love on kids, love on people, see them, value them, and appreciate them. Right. And so those are the heroes, and I can't wait to be a part of that team.
So are you going to also be delving into like security systems, like upgrading locks, things like that? Are you going to be?
All of that. Anything that I feel like makes the staff and the school and the kids feel, not just be more safe, but feel more safe, so that they can thrive and flourish and do their business.
Right.
And do their business. All of those suggestions I'll be looking at all of those suggestions to give to the board to say, this is what I think will make everyone safer, feel safer, act safer, respond safer, flourish.
Right. Right.
Right. But ultimately, it comes down to people.
Right.
That's ultimately the best defense is someone talking to someone.
Yeah.
Right. If people have real, authentic relationships in the building, right? If people feel safe, because they're connected, they are more safe.
Right.
They're not going to let anything happen to one another.
Right.
Oh yeah. Anyway.
I love it. I like that.
That's it. We got to have authentic relationship in this community all the way around. Right.
I'm with that. I love it.
All right. It's Gun Violence Prevention Week.
Yes.
Give us the rundown before we let you go.
Yeah. Again, so if you want more information on Moms Demand Action, I have a Facebook page, Moms Demand Action OK on Facebook, and you can text ACT to 64433 to immediately get hooked up with our organization. On June 4th, we will be, honoring victims of gun violence with selfless hands. That information is on our Facebook page. I've posted about it. What else? There was something else. There's going to be a march for Our Lives, which is June 11th. Contact your legislature. Let them know. Let them know that sensible gun reform is a good thing.
That's good. Did you find, because you're on Twitter.
I am. Cackiness. Cackines.
At Cackiness.
Yes.
And Facebook and Instagram. Do you do Instagram?
I am. Cacky. Cacky.
So it's a great name.
Thank you.
It's a great name.
Thank you.
It's good. All right. So thank you for coming on. And I know this is not an easy subject, but it's something that you dive into. So thanks for giving us the information. I appreciate it. And thanks for letting me have my soapbox for a little bit. Did you just make me a guest on my show? I think you did.
Well, you did a great job.
I don't know. Well, I'm passionate about a lot of things, and so
Yeah.
this is one of them. So thank you so much for being a part of the conversation. Jump in and be a part of making everybody feel seen, heard, and valued. That's it for Conversations with QB. We'll see you next week.